What if I told you that many women don't fall out of love with their husbands? They slowly fade out, in silence. As the years go by, something strange begins to happen in many long-term marriages. On the outside, things seem fine. No dramatic fights, no scandal, no one slamming doors or walking away. But quietly, slowly, almost invisibly, something changes. She stops talking as much, stops smiling when he enters the room, stops trying. Not because she no longer loves him, but because she no longer feels loved back. This isn't just a rare situation. It's something thousands of women around the world are quietly living through, especially as they age. And it's not about losing passion or getting older. It's about practical realities, emotional weight, and years of small moments that were overlooked. It's about feeling unheard, unseen, and unappreciated in a relationship she once gave everything to. This video is not about blame. It's about truth, the kind that lives behind closed doors and quiet sighs. Today, we'll explore 8 very real reasons why many women begin to emotionally pull away from their husbands as they age, and what can be done before that distance becomes permanent. If you're in a relationship, or ever hope to be, don't skip this, because what we're about to uncover could change the way you see love, aging, and long-term commitment forever. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe to support our channel. Now, let's begin. 1. Emotional labor becomes too heavy. She remembers every birthday. She's the one who plans the family holidays, buys the gifts, schedules the doctor appointments, keeps track of the grandchildren's school events, and remembers to call his sister every Sunday. And yet, most of this work is invisible. This is emotional labor, the unseen effort it takes to keep a household and relationship running smoothly. And for decades, many women carry this burden quietly. Not because they want to, but because they feel they have to. Society expects it, their families rely on it, and often their husbands never even notice it's happening. But as the years pass and the energy fades, something inside her shifts. She begins to wonder, why am I still the one remembering everything? Why do I have to carry the emotional weight of this marriage while he just coasts? And here's the painful truth. Most men don't realize this imbalance exists until it's too late. To them, everything seems fine. But to her, it feels like she's managing a full-time job with no days off, no recognition, and no shared responsibility. The emotional exhaustion builds, not suddenly, but day by day, year by year, until one day she doesn't feel like asking how his day was. She doesn't care what's for dinner. She doesn't even feel the urge to explain why she's angry. Because what's the point? She's tired, in her mind, her heart, and her soul. And that's when emotional withdrawal begins. If you've ever felt like the only one holding your relationship together, type "I understand" in the comments. Your story matters more than you know. 2. Lack of meaningful communication. In the beginning, their conversations were electric. He asked about her dreams. She shared her fears. They stayed up late just talking, about nothing and everything. Those small, late-night chats made her feel seen, understood, and connected. It was never about grand speeches, just a feeling that someone really wanted to know what was on her mind. But over the years, the questions stopped. How was your day? Turned into, what's for dinner? What are you thinking? Turned into silence. I love you became routine, or disappeared altogether. And so, without realizing it, their words grew shorter, while the distance between their hearts grew longer. For many women, this is the turning point, not the absence of sex or gifts or even help around the house, but the absence of connection, of real conversation, of that moment when your partner looks at you and really listens. When this stops, a woman begins to feel like she's fading in his eyes, like her thoughts no longer matter. Her opinions go unheard. Her emotions go unnoticed. And after years of this, something breaks. Not with a bang, but with a quiet closing of the heart. She may still talk, but no longer open up. She may still answer, but not share. She becomes emotionally cautious, guarded, and eventually disengaged. It's not that she stopped loving him. It's that she stopped feeling loved by him. If you've ever missed the way someone used to talk to you, comment, "I miss real conversations." You're not alone. 3. The burden of housework never ends. You'd think that after decades of marriage, raising children, cooking thousands of meals, folding mountains of laundry, a woman would finally get a break. But for many, that break never comes. Even after retirement, the pattern continues. She still wakes up first, starts the coffee, unloads the dishwasher, picks up after everyone, plans the meals, and scrubs the bathroom sink. And while her husband relaxes with the newspaper or the TV remote, she's still on her feet, still managing. At first, it feels manageable, maybe even expected. But after years and years, it starts to feel less like love and more like labor. Because here's what no one tells you. It's not the chore itself that breaks her spirit. It's doing it alone, every day, with no acknowledgement, no help, no thank you. And the little things build up. Dirty socks left on the floor, dishes in the sink soaking for 2 days, trash that somehow only she can see overflowing. These small oversights might seem harmless, but to her, they scream one thing. You don't value my time. You just expect me to keep doing it all. The resentment starts small, a sigh, a quiet complaint. But with time, it hardens, until one day, she stops asking for help. Not because she doesn't need it, but because she's tired of being ignored. That's when emotional distance sets in, not from one big fight, but from 1,000 moments where she felt taken for granted. Ladies, if you've ever caught yourself cleaning up while your partner sat back, comment, "I've been there." Your exhaustion is valid. 4. She outgrows the relationship, but he doesn't. There comes a time in many women's lives, often after the kids are grown, the job is done, and the home is finally quiet, when they begin to ask themselves a powerful question. What else is out there for me? She starts reading more, taking classes, traveling with friends, picking up old hobbies or trying new ones. It's not a midlife crisis. It's a reawakening, a return to the parts of herself that were put on hold for decades. But sometimes, her husband doesn't come along for the ride. While she's evolving, he's staying the same, locked in the same routines, the same conversations, the same mindset he's had for years. He may be comfortable, even content, but she isn't. And slowly, that difference in growth starts to feel like distance. What once felt like compatibility now feels like confinement. She wants to explore, but he wants to stay home. She wants to engage with the world, but he'd rather repeat yesterday. And soon, it feels like they're not walking side by side anymore, but drifting in opposite directions. It's not that she wants to leave him, it's that she wants to grow with him. And when that no longer feels possible, she starts to emotionally detach, not out of cruelty, but out of survival, out of the aching sense that if she doesn't keep growing, she'll start shrinking. The truth is, relationships aren't static. They either evolve or they erode. Have you ever felt like you were outgrowing someone you love? If so, comment, "I needed more" below. Your journey matters. 5. Loss of physical and emotional intimacy. Intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about closeness. About the way he used to reach for her hand when they walked. The way he once looked at her across the dinner table and smiled like she was the only one in the room. It's the little touches, the lingering hugs, the unspoken connection. But over time, that spark often fades. Maybe it was the stress of work, the chaos of parenting, the grind of daily life. Whatever the reason, somewhere along the way, affection got replaced by routine, and then by silence. For a woman, this loss cuts deep. She doesn't just miss being touched. She misses being wanted. She doesn't just miss the physical connection. She misses the emotional closeness that came with it. The feeling that someone saw her, desired her, and still thought she was beautiful, not just in appearance, but in soul. When that disappears, something within her begins to shut down. She might stop initiating, stop reaching out, not out of punishment, but because rejection, or worse, indifference, hurts too much. So she retreats, and with every moment of physical distance, the emotional distance grows. And here's what makes it even harder. Most men don't notice until it's already too late. They assume she's not interested or too tired. But the truth is, she just stopped feeling like she mattered in that way. She didn't need grand gestures. She just needed to be held, genuinely, to feel chosen, again and again. If you've ever missed being touched, not out of habit, but out of love, comment, "I miss that," below. You are not alone. 6. Retirement changes everything, but not always for the better. Retirement is often painted as the golden chapter of life. Sunny days, travel plans, slow mornings, and peaceful evenings. But for many couples, the reality feels far different and far more complicated. Suddenly, he's home all day. No work deadlines, no office to escape to, no structured schedule. And while this sounds like a dream, it can quickly become a source of quiet tension. Because without realizing it, she becomes his entire world, his source of entertainment, his daily planner, his emotional anchor. And after decades of carrying the household, she now finds herself managing his retirement too, organizing activities, initiating conversations, planning meals, and filling the empty hours he never prepared for. What was supposed to be her time of rest and self-discovery begins to feel like another unpaid job. The loss of personal space becomes suffocating. The days start blending together. And if he has no hobbies, no friends, and no independent purpose, she becomes his everything, when all she really wanted was some space to be her own person again. And if he doesn't recognize this shift, or worse, resents her for wanting time apart, the emotional distance grows. She doesn't hate him. She's just tired. Tired of being needed when she desperately needs to breathe. Retirement doesn't automatically heal a marriage. If anything, it shines a brighter light on the cracks that have gone unnoticed for years. Have you or someone you know felt overwhelmed during retirement instead of free? Comment, "I understand retirement reality" below. Your honesty might help someone else feel seen. 7. She no longer feels heard or appreciated. It's not the silence that hurts the most. It's speaking up and realizing no one's truly listening. Over the years, she's expressed her feelings. She's voiced her concerns. She's tried to initiate heartfelt conversations, sometimes gently, sometimes with frustration. But somewhere along the way, It started to feel like talking to a wall. He might nod. He might say, "I hear you," but nothing changes. And so, she stops trying. She begins to shrink her voice. She avoids certain topics. She tells herself, "What's the point?" And that is perhaps the most heartbreaking shift of all, not the absence of love, but the absence of effort. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't need flowers every week. She doesn't need poetry or grand romantic gestures. She needs to feel like her voice matters. Like when she speaks, someone is really there. Not just in the room, but present, open, invested. When she doesn't feel heard, she feels invisible. And when she feels invisible, she starts to fade from the relationship. Not physically, but emotionally. She still shows up. She still cooks dinner, still asks about his day, but her heart isn't in it anymore. Because how long can someone keep pouring love into a space where their words echo back in silence? Appreciation isn't about gifts. It's about acknowledgement, gratitude. A simple thank you for decades of showing up, holding everything together, and never asking for much in return. If you've ever felt like your voice didn't matter in a relationship, comment, "I deserve to be heard." Your feelings are valid, and your voice still matters. 8. She realizes life is short and wants more. As we age, life takes on a different tone. Friends pass away. Health changes. Funerals become more frequent than weddings. And one quiet morning, she looks in the mirror and realizes, "I don't have forever." That moment shifts everything. She begins to reflect, not with regret, but with clarity. Am I happy? Do I feel loved? Is this the life I want to keep living? And if the answers bring more pain than peace, she doesn't explode. She doesn't threaten. She simply lets go. Not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. She starts choosing herself in ways she never did before. She stops begging for attention. She stops trying to fix what he refuses to see. She focuses on her own peace, her health, her joy, even if that means doing it quietly, without him. This isn't abandonment. It's awakening. Because after decades of giving, sacrificing, and waiting, she realizes she no longer wants to just exist in someone else's life. She wants to live in her own. And if he can't meet her halfway, if he won't grow, listen, or show up emotionally, then she'll keep moving forward anyway. Not with drama, but with dignity. The saddest part? Many men don't notice until she's already gone. Sometimes physically, often emotionally. By the time they ask, "What happened?" she's already made peace with the silence. If you've ever had that moment where you realized your time is too precious to waste, comment, "I choose peace." You're not selfish. You're finally choosing yourself. Conclusion. Love doesn't die with age. It fades without attention. Love doesn't vanish in a single argument. It fades in the silence, in the forgotten gestures, in the unanswered questions and unshared burdens. What we've explored today isn't a story about women falling out of love. It's about women slowly fading away from relationships where they no longer feel seen, heard, or valued. But here's the powerful truth. It doesn't have to be this way. Love isn't something that just happens. It's something you choose over and over again, even when the years have changed your faces, your bodies, and your routines. If you're a husband watching this, ask yourself, when was the last time I truly looked at her? Not as the woman who does the dishes or manages the appointments, but as the woman who once trusted me with her heart. When was the last time you said, "Thank you," or "I'm listening," or simply, "I still love you"? And if you're a wife feeling distant, ask yourself, is there still space to reconnect, to rebuild, not the past, but a future that feels more balanced, more honest, more alive? Marriage is not about reaching a finish line. It's about showing up, day after day, with small, intentional acts that whisper, I still choose you. Because love doesn't die with age. It dies when we stop nurturing it. If this message spoke to your heart, leave a comment below. I still believe in love. And don't forget to subscribe for more honest conversations about love, aging, and connection. Your story matters. Your relationship matters. And it's never too late to begin again.